Hello and welcome back to Swindon Heritage TV. Now we're in the lovely warm environment of the Kings, and the reason we're here is because we're celebrating a real true find that took place at the Corn Exchange. Now you may have seen our previous programmes on the history of the Corn Exchange and having a look around. If you haven't, do look them up because they're fascinating videos. But as I said, we're here because there has been a tremendous find, and I'm joined first of all by Craig Hutchison, who actually found this particular piece of history, and Graham Carter from Swindon Heritage, who, if we can start with you and maybe explain what was found.
Well, it's just a ledger, really. It's an accounts ledger, which if you found one now, you think, well, big deal, it's an accounts ledger. But when you see some of the names in there, the names who came and played at the Locarno, it's incredible.
Tell us about some of the names you found in here.
The Hollies, a lot of the big names from the 60s came to Swindon and played live at the Locarno.
So let's have a little look, and what will fascinate people is how much they were paid.
Yeah, this is a good place to start. It's probably the sort of 1960, because this is just before the pop era. It's the big band time, and we've got Gordon Talbot, who was a local band leader, one of the finest musicians Swindon's ever produced. He got paid £20 for his whole band, who would have been probably about 7 or 8 piece band. And as it goes on, the prices go up and the names get bigger.
And is there anybody else at all?
The Who, probably the biggest name that played there, a legendary band. They played there in 1965. They only got paid 60% of the fee, so we think that the agent took 40%. Ooh. And the total fee for the night is the equivalent of £4,000 now.
So that's still pretty good value.
Yeah, well, a big band like the Who coming to Swindon. And the interesting thing is that the date of it was October 1965. It was 15 days after they recorded My Generation, which is their big, hit. And so I'm sure that they would have played that night. And they released it a couple of weeks after. It became a huge hit. It was ranked number 11 of the all-time, top 500 pop songs of the 60s.
Well, it's really, really interesting. We're going to come back to it in just a second, Graham. But Craig, you were the person who actually found this ledger. Tell us how that happened.
I was chaperoning an amateur photographer. She was doing a piece on derelict buildings, so she wanted to go into the Locarno, Corn Exchange, and have a look round. And I noticed a door, and I thought, I've never been in there before. What's in there? So I managed to prise it open. And then what beheld me was just hundreds of bingo tickets and just like old paraphernalia that I could instantly tell was from an old era. Then out of the corner of my eye, I noticed got a big red book. What's that? I had a look at it, opened it up, and wow, this must be an old ledger. I took the book home, and that's when I sat down and actually started going through and realised when I started coming across names like the Hollies, Peter and Gordon, and when I found the Who. And being a musician myself, I was quite flabbergasted. It generates a lot of interest, it's straight away. So, yeah, it's quite pleased with the find.
Well, fantastic. Well done for finding it, and more importantly, well done for keeping it in such great condition.
Yes, yeah, I'm glad I did now. I'm glad
fantastic.
I did, yeah.
So you must be amazed that this actually survived.
Indeed. I mean, after 2 fires, 2 quite severe fires at the Locarno, to find... I guess the room must have helped preserve, but to still find it in the condition that it is quite remarkable, to be fair. It really is.
Craig, thanks very much indeed. Well, really, really interesting. Graham, we were talking earlier on about some of the other groups that you found, and there's a few other names that we might recognise today.
People like Peter and Gordon, Dave D, who is they were a Wiltshire band. He was here before they were famous and after they were famous. The Searchers came to Swindon, the Small Faces all played at the Locarno, and what a thing to be able to see in Swindon.
So it really seems that Swindon was very much on the circuit for these top bands.
I think it was actually, and you see the transition in the ledger from the big band era to pop, and pop becoming really big all of a sudden.
How significant is it for Swindon as a town to have this added to its heritage?
Well, I think it's great because we're looking forward to the Locarno and the Corn Exchange in general being developed into a proper venue again, and it's something we haven't got in Swindon, and this just shows what we had. We didn't realise, I don't think at the time, what we had. Now hopefully we're going to go back to it, and Swindon's sort of moving up the league table, I think, with regenerating these places.
Well, it's a fascinating story, and again, continuing with Swindon's amazing heritage. Graham, thanks very much. It was really, really interesting. And our thanks as well to Craig Hutchison. Now, you can find out more about the history of the Corn Exchange buildings on some videos that we've made in the past, which are on the link below. And also you can find out more in the regular edition of the Swindon Heritage, which comes out every quarter. Bye for now.
Well, as you can tell, there's a lot of people here tonight from I feel my generation. These are the boys who made the hit record of that very same name. So give a great big welcome for the fabulous The Who.